Good day, folks. Thank you for joining us here at Your Health. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all. On today's program, we want to talk about the vital role of probiotics in good health. Probiotics, they're all the rage today. You want to know the current science on it? Well, stay tuned. We'll learn together. First, let's go to our news. Let's see what's happening in the health world. Vitamin D supplementation protects against severe asthma attacks. Researchers from the University of London reviewed 7 previous studies involving over 950 subjects. They found vitamin D reduced the risk of asthma attacks that required steroid administration by 30%. They also found vitamin D reduced the risk of developing severe asthma requiring hospitalization by 50%. The study was published by Lancet. Worldwide, there are some 300 million asthmatics, and of these, some 400,000 die from their disease every year. This study finds if everyone took supplemental vitamin D, the worldwide death rate from asthma would decrease from 400,000 to 200,000 yearly. That's 200,000 lives saved every year, and that's only the lives saved from asthma deaths. Over the last year, some 25,000 new studies or scientific writings have been published investigating the role of vitamin D in health and disease. Obviously, we can't cover them all, but here's a summary of a few that are most pertinent to our audience. First, a review of 25 previous studies involving over 11,000 subjects finds vitamin D supplementation lowers the risk of acute respiratory tract infections by over 80%, and D lowers the respiratory infection rate in all groups cradle to grave. They also found supplementing vitamin D was safe with none of the side effects detractors warn us of. None. Not in that study, not a one. Next, low vitamin D levels are associated with ICU admission for severe life-threatening sepsis and death. Vitamin D supplementation slows the progression of age-related macular degeneration. Next, low vitamin D levels in diabetes leads to lower limb weakness, which leads to falls and injuries. Patients who use statins to help prevent heart disease have lower levels of vitamin D due to these statin drugs, and this low vitamin D status makes statin-induced muscle injury worse. Now, here's an interesting one. We all know that regular exercise reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, but exercise only prevents heart attacks when the vitamin D levels are in the optimal range. Exercise with low D levels actually increases heart attack risk. Isn't that amazing? Vitamin D supplementation during pregnancy reduces asthma attacks in mothers and infants up to age 3. D reduces the risk of mother developing preeclampsia. D supplementation by expectant mothers also reduces babies' risk of autism. Children of mothers with low D have poor fine and gross motor control, and they are at higher risk of multiple sclerosis throughout their life. We also find those who supplement vitamin D are at lower risk of death from any and all causes. Women with higher levels of vitamin D at the time of breast cancer diagnosis are much more likely to survive their disease. And finally, the lowest dose of vitamin D we can take, hoping to achieve all of these benefits, is 4,000 international units of vitamin D3 daily. And as I researched this article, I found an editorial in the New England Journal of Medicine that stated vitamin D is a treatment still looking for a disease to treat. Who do they think they're kidding? New research from the University of Illinois finds toddlers who are extremely picky eaters aren't just being difficult, they are genetically hardwired to be fussy about what they eat. Researchers from the College of Agricultural, Consumer, and Environmental Sciences have been researching picky eaters for the past 10 years. Recently, they evaluated 153 preschoolers for the presence of 5 different genes related to taste perception. They found that kids who were the pickiest about their foods had variations in 1 or more of the 5 taste genes. The researchers also report most kids who are picky eaters grow out of the pattern with age. The study was published by the Journal of Nutrigenics and Nutrigenomics. Well, this one's interesting, isn't it? I think everyone watching today has known a child who is just impossible to please at the dinner table, and great family angst always follows. Please understand the vast majority of kids grow out of dinner time pickiness, but some persist refusing to eat anything except their few favorite foods. This new research applies to these extreme picky eaters. What they found was the pickiest eaters have variations in one or more genes known to control taste perception. These gene variants lead to either vegetables and other healthy foods tasting bitter, or the diet containing only a few items, or a true propensity to struggle for control during mealtime. These three traits are clues to a genetically driven picky eater. Due to this research, we now understand these patterns of picky eaters such as, yuck, it tastes bad, or I just want chicken nuggets, or the child steadfastly refusing directions, no, I don't want that. You know what they say. These picky patterns are genetically determined and they will never grow out of it. It is imperative that we remain patient with these kids so that we may not engage in an endless power struggle that may lead to inappropriate disciplinary action and future mistrust. Also, this knowledge provides us with a basis to recommend discussions with our picky eaters as to why we eat these healthy foods, even if they don't taste good. Comments like, even a little does our body good, are most appropriate. Also, this study underscores the need to supplement our diets with vitamins, minerals, and various plant-based extracts from a very young age, especially for our pickiest eaters. Well, today on Your Health, we'd like to discuss the health benefits of probiotics. Stay tuned to learn more.
I'm Cindy Becker.
And I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Are you thinking about your health as we approach a new year? Well, many of us do, even though our health is important every day of the year.
If you have a wellness plan in mind, December's a month with special holiday prices. Plus, shipping within the continental U.S. is free for all orders over $50.
We'd like to thank you for your continued support. It's because of you that we are able to provide this great educational service.
So call us today to restock your supplements for the coming year and tell a friend about the savings, or order online at bioinnovations.net for the best prices of the season.
We hope the new year brings you happiness and better health for your entire family. Merry Christmas.
And a happy, healthy new year.
Dr. Becker, and this is Your Health at a Glance. Are you one of the millions of Americans who are at risk for heart problems? If your diet is like the average American's, you're getting far more sodium than your body needs, and this may create serious problems for your heart. A new study from the Netherlands showed that a diet high in salt not only increases blood pressure to dangerous levels, it also causes damage to your blood vessels. To avoid these problems, you need to avoid foods that are high in salt, such as preserved and prepared foods like frozen dinners, canned soups and other canned foods, cured meats such as lunch meat, hot dogs, bacon and sausage, condiments and sauces such as soy sauce, teriyaki sauce, and spaghetti sauce, and snack foods such as salted nuts, pretzels, and chips. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, poultry, fish, and other salt-free alternatives. As you decrease your intake of salt, your desire for salty foods will eventually be reduced. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Dr. Becker.
Are you one of the 62 million Americans suffering from gastrointestinal problems? Do you struggle with other chronic conditions? That's why we offer Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics.
After years of research, we developed a revolutionary probiotic formula with gastrodefense technology. This system protects the good bacteria from stomach acid so the probiotics reach the intestines where they go to work. Additionally, we use live count technology to prolong the shelf life of the probiotics, so there's no need for refrigeration.
Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics is a powerful combination and one of the most effective formulas available today. And we offer a children's chewable formula too, both at prices you can afford. Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. That number's 888-442-2128. Welcome back and happy holidays, everyone. I hope you're doing fantastic. Today's show is going to be quite an interesting one. We talk about this all the time, but we learn something new every time we do it, and that is the importance of probiotics in helping you have a healthy intestinal tract and immune system. We talk about immunity every day, don't we? Richard, what do I need to do to get my immune system better? Richard, I have colds over and over. Richard, and it goes on and on and on. What do we need to do to build our immune system? Well, it starts with probiotics.
It sure does. And the reason is probiotics, these healthy organisms, bacteria, they influence the gut bacteria. There's other bacteria other than probiotics in the intestinal tract. There's quite a variety of them. And the scientists have been able to prove, without any doubt now, that probiotics orchestrate the function of the other bacteria. So without the probiotic influence, those bacteria create toxins that make us sick on every level that you can imagine. That's what we want to talk about today and help you understand the importance of this. Now, a little bit of background is imperative to help you understand how to best use probiotics. So bear with me. There are important lessons to learn from this discussion. There was recently a study published in the scientific journal called Nature. That's it's very prestigious to get an article published in that one. Scientists from 7 countries mapped out the genetic composition of 124 healthy test subjects' intestinal bacteria, and they found some very impressive things. They found that these healthy people had 100 times the microbial bacterial genes from their gut than their own genes from their own cells. Makes you wonder who's in charge, the gut bacteria or us? Something interesting to think about. The gut bacteria have 100 times the amount of genes than the human does. So they call it, the gut bacteria, the second genome. They have 10 times the number of bacteria than human cells, 10 times more bacteria than we have cells. Typical, 160 different species in the intestines of the average healthy human. Keep in mind, only 3 to 5% of the world's population is now considered healthy, so most of us have variations in that 160 different species. Healthy, normal intestinal bacteria produce endotoxins, meaning, this is endo meaning within, toxins within, that prime the system, influence the system. And this is supposed to happen. When we have normal bacteria in our gut, things are primed to help protect the immunity and influence a wide variety of physiologic functions. Now, that's the ideal, but that's not what happens to us, is it? We don't live in an ideal world. Another set of research will help you understand how that gut bacteria can be influenced. The University of British Columbia analyzed the chemical composition of mice feces. Now, that's not a glamorous study, but it's critical to understand this. Analyzing mice feces. They looked at 2,000 different chemicals created by the feces in the mice. They re-examined the feces after just 1 round of antibiotics. They found of the 2,000 chemicals, 1,750 of them, by far the vast majority of these different chemicals, increased or decreased anywhere from 2 to 10,000-fold. The simple administration of an antibiotic had a profound effect on the gut's bacteria of these laboratory animals and the type of chemicals they produced that influenced the rest of the body. Now, they chose a certain strain of mice to closely resemble humans. You know, they know what they're doing. They know that it mimics humans. That's why they did it this way. What systems were most affected by the administration of an antibiotic? The hormonal system, the inflammatory systems, the carbohydrate and fat metabolism systems, along with bile production and recycling of blood components. This is your detoxification systems. So it influenced far more than just those, but those were the most pronounced. Hormones, inflammation, metabolism, bile production, recycling of blood, and detoxification. Profoundly affected, up to 10,000-fold change in the molecules that influence those systems from the gut bacteria. Next set of research. University of Pennsylvania found long-term diet dictates intestinal bacteria type. Are you eating a Mediterranean Garden of Eden style diet? Are you eating a fast food diet? Are you up and down, back and forth, a high-fat diet, a high-sugar diet? However you eat, it tends to dictate, including your probiotics from your yogurt and this type of thing, and your dietary supplements. Your diet dictates the bacterial levels of your gut and how they work. They even were able to classify it in Bacteroides type, Provotella type, Ruminococcus type, the varying types. That doesn't matter so much to us in this discussion, but they were able to quantify and qualify the different bacterial types based on diet alone. So you could say, I never take antibiotics, but I eat a kind of a peculiar diet. Well, your intestinal flora will reflect that. Next, University of Maryland. Probiotics facilitate the actions of the enterotype bacteria. Remember we said that the probiotics act as the symphony conductor of the gut's various bacteria and how they release their chemicals that influence our body systems. They were able to prove that at the University of Maryland. The probiotic organisms act as a conductor with a wide variety of actions, even those arising from non-probiotic intestinal bacteria. So someone may say, well, I take a probiotic, but I read a study that they die off quickly, so what's the point of taking that? Well, continual reintroduction of the probiotic type strains continue to act as the conductor. You know, if you don't pay the conductor of the symphony, he's going to quit coming, isn't he? Yeah, we got to keep paying him. Then we have beautiful music. Think of it that way and it begins to make sense. Now, when the gut bacteria goes bad, when it goes kilter, when too much of one, too little of another, you know, when it's out of balance, we call that intestinal dysbiosis. Intestinal dysbiosis. This is an abnormal intestinal microbe growth. It creates toxins and carcinogenic-like substances that influence body processes. It leads to disturbed digestion, malabsorption, and inflammation. It leads to a suppressed immune function and even hyperimmunity, meaning it can lead to autoimmune disease, all from altered bowel flora. It alters your cholesterol-based hormones. I'm talking about estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, all of the, we call them sex-based hormones that are based on cholesterol and built up from cholesterol into all these varied actions. Your bowel flora dictates the function of even that. Isn't that amazing? Also, it can alter this intestinal dysbiosis and altered bowel flora. If you're not setting the proper tone for your gut flora, it will alter your mineral and electrolyte levels. It can actually lead to osteoporosis, thinning of the bones, just because your bowel flora is off. This has been proven. Disturbed carbohydrate metabolism and diabetes. Gaining weight changes your bowel flora. Developing onto diabetes, it changes it even further. That's been proven. Altered recycling of blood products. When we have dysbiosis, we do not detox. We do not detox properly. It's not enough. We tend to accumulate toxins. You know, there's a simple rule of good health that I want everybody to understand. You can either eat a big meal and digest in your sleep, or you can eat a modest meal for dinner and detox every night. The world's a polluted place. If our bowel flora is off, we do not detox properly, and things start adding up. And before you know it, you're sick. How would you know you're sick with intestinal dysbiosis? You may have one infection after another. Bacteria, viruses, and fungi. You have a hard time getting rid of that athlete's foot. It can be that simple. These are the signs. Yeast infections, fungal skin infections, prominence of allergies, asthma, eczema. One antihistamine used to control the allergies. Now I have to use a steroid spray, and I have to take shots. I have to do all these. That can be a sign of dysbiosis-influenced allergy response. Food intolerances emerge. All of a sudden, I'm allergic to foods. I'm intolerant. I'm hypersensitive to foods. I'm gaining weight, but I'm eating less. A profound effect on our metabolic processes. You know, we used to say weight control is a disciplinary act. That's all it is, but we know better than that. When the bowel flora goes off, it affects our metabolic processes, including how fast we digest and process and burn our foods. You know, if your immune system's off, it may be because it's not getting enough energy. It's not getting enough energy to really fight the disease, and that can all be related to your dysbiosis. You may have constipation, you may have diarrhea, you may have irritable bowel-like syndrome, food intolerances, lactose intolerance may emerge with dysbiosis. This is all about altered bowel flora and why we need probiotics. You may have fatigue, but you can't sleep at night. Chronic fatigue syndrome is intimately linked to dysbiosis. Headaches, body pain, autoimmune disease, metabolic syndrome, elevated blood glucose. All of this accompanies dysbiosis. It's a little different for everyone. Everyone has their own unique ways, but this is the pattern. And we typically have a history of disease. We typically have multiple doctor interventions with a lot of medicines. That's a very typical, but it can be varied. Now, we're going to our break, but I also want to talk about environmental causes of dysbiosis, things that may be beyond your control in exposure, but we can take steps to counter it when we return.
I'm Cindy Becker.
And I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Are you thinking about your health as we approach a new year? Well, many of us do, even though our health is important every day of the year.
If you have a wellness plan in mind, December's a month with special holiday prices. Plus, shipping within the continental U.S. is free for all orders over $50.
We'd like to thank you for your continued support. It's because of you that we are able to provide this great educational service.
So call us today to restock your supplements for the coming year and tell a friend about the savings, or order online at bioinnovations.net for the best prices of the season.
We hope the new year brings you happiness and better health for your entire family. Merry Christmas.
And a happy, healthy new year.
I'm Dr. Richard Becker for Your Health at a Glance. High cholesterol raises your risk for cardiovascular disease, but it's just one risk factor among many. And the need to lower your cholesterol can be over-exaggerated. Everywhere in the media, we see advertisements for cholesterol-lowering prescription drugs. It's a big business. Now, cardiovascular disease kills more Americans than any other disease, so we need to pay attention to all the risk factors for heart disease. Here's a prevention strategy. Besides lowering your cholesterol, treat high blood pressure. Stop all tobacco, manage diabetes, exercise regularly to stay fit, avoid sugar, eat fish and fresh fruits and vegetables. Take your daily vitamin and use omega-3 oils. Address all your risk factors, not just your cholesterol. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Is your life out of balance? It may be. The average American consumes far too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. This creates an imbalance.
So what can we do to get back in balance? We can eat a healthy diet.
And most of us need to supplement with omega-3 rich fish oil. Fish oil contains omega-3s with DHA and EPA, fatty acids that promote good brain and heart health. So reduce omega-6 in your nutritional plan and boost omega-3 to get back in balance.
To help you do that, BioInnovations offers two products, the Fish Oil Complex and Omega-369, both formulated for your health and well-being. So how do you choose? For highest levels of DHA and EPA, choose the Fish Oil Complex. For a balanced formula, choose the 369. Go online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. We're back, everyone, talking about intestinal dysbiosis and the importance of probiotics for good health. So, Richard, environmental factors for intestinal dysbiosis.
Yes, there's quite a variety of them. We were talking about the signs and symptoms, how you may feel, quite a list of symptoms that may alert you to the possibility you have altered bowel flora. And you know, the one thing I did mention that is probably the most important, you just know something's wrong with your intestines. It's just not right. The regularity's off a little bit. I don't feel quite right. When you have it, you know it. You know that kind of feeling? Something's wrong and you sense that. Other things that contribute to this dysbiosis, malnourishment, poor eating habits, low fiber diets, low fruits and vegetables. Up to 80% of all Americans eat no raw foods. They eat a refined, low fiber, chemically enhanced diet. This undoubtedly causes dysbiosis. There's no scientific debate. We know it's a fact. If you eat fast food more than 3 times a week, you're dysbiotic. It may take years for you to develop a disease, but I promise you, you will. You will. We can all have a little fast food every now and then, but it can't be your main food source. That makes sense, doesn't it? Heavy metal exposure. Our world's polluted. Heavy metals play a role. What heavy metals do is they poison our mitochondria. They poison the mitochondria, which makes energy for the cells to use in all its very processes. No energy, no cellular activity. You can't fight disease. You can't heal. You can't recover. Chlorinated and fluoridated water. The chlorine is put in our water supply to keep sepsis out, sewage contamination, kill the bacteria. That's a good thing. But when you drink it, it's best to have that chlorine out because it'll affect your bowel flora. It's the same stuff we want to keep out of the water. You follow me. Chlorinated water, good and bad. Fluoridated water for our dental strength and whatnot, it also does the same thing. Chlorine and fluorine are very close. They're like cousins. They have similar actions. Obesity, if you're overweight, your bowel flora is off. If you're diabetic, it's off. It's part of it. It's part of the disease, or it's one and the same. If you have any type of liver condition, such as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, fatty infiltration of the liver, hepatitis C, any type of the inflammations that inflame the liver, keep in mind, all the blood from the intestinal tract, from the top of the stomach, the bottom of the esophagus, all the way to the rectum, all the blood that leaves that long, just about 25 feet of tube, all the blood goes directly to the liver. If your bowel flora is off, your liver's going to be off. If your liver's off, your bowel flora is off. Bottom line. And you know, we could talk for a year, an hour a day for a year on the science behind that. We wouldn't cover it. But it all comes down to that. If you have a liver condition, your bowel flora is off. If your bowel flora is off, your liver will become off too. What else? Antibiotic use. University of Michigan did a study. 1 course of cephalosporin, which are some of the most commonly prescribed antibiotics in the world, 1 course caused intestinal dysbiosis that did not correct itself 1 year later when they followed up on the patients. This is a human study. A year later. Now, these people thought their gut was back to normal, but the scientists proved it was not. Now, I believe, and I know from what I've studied and what I've done with patients and all my life experience, we can correct that antibiotic-induced dysbiosis, but you must do certain things. Don't expect it to fix on its own. You may think you're normal, but the scientists have proved 1 round of antibiotics has long-term consequences on the gut flora. This is critically important. Now, this is not to say we should never take an antibiotic. There are times when it is entirely appropriate. Pneumonia, serious infections, and there are reasons to take them. But use the measures we discussed today to help correct that problem, the side effect of the medicine. Does that make sense, honey? She's my barometer. If I'm off base, she'll tell me. If I'm on base, then we can go on. Does it make sense to people? It's important to understand. Medicines are here to help us, not to harm us. If you take any type of pain medicine or anti-inflammatory medicine that affects bowel flora, if you take any type of foreign hormone or steroid, hormone replacement therapy, even an inhaler for asthma that is steroid-based, it will affect your bowel flora. Your doctors don't know this, but it's true. And I could prove it to you. If you want to know, I'll prove it to you. It does. Trust me, it does. Stress. We know without a doubt that stress affects bowel flora. And do we not go from one stressful paycheck to the next, one from the next? It's hand-to-mouth pocket. I mean, that's life in the modern world. We're all under stress every minute of the day. And eventually this adds up, especially when you have these other factors. You put it all together and stress. Aging. University of Dundee, seniors have dramatically lowered levels of normal intestinal bacteria, but a new study, this is brand new, they were able to prove with probiotics and other measures that we'll discuss, you can reverse the bowel flora of aging. And they were also able to prove the people who seem to be super seniors, relatively free of disease. They're up and moving, enjoying life, and their brains are active. They're the ones who have the bacteria of youth, the ones who are showing early signs of aging disease, cognitive decline, arthritis, all the problems we think is just because we're getting old. They're the ones with abnormal gut bacteria. You know, honey, I remember back when we wrote Foundations for Healing, and I knew in my heart that dysbiosis was at the root cause of so many of our diseases. Well, we just can't figure these out. Well, I think it's because of gut problems. And I'm not going to say I was right about everything, but the vast majority, we're right on the mark. And we've had almost 20 years of research now that proves that. What else quickly? Travel and exposure to new organisms. Worldwide travel, you can get on an airplane today and meet people from 20 different countries and share their germs. This affects us. And weakened immune systems, all of these and more contribute to dysbiosis. Now, when we return, we're going to break that cycle and restore the flora. We'll be right back.
I'm Cindy Becker.
And I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Are you thinking about your health as we approach a new year? Well, many of us do, even though our health is important every day of the year.
If you have a wellness plan in mind, December's a month with special holiday prices. Plus, shipping within the continental U.S. is free for all orders over $50.
We'd like to thank you for your continued support. It's because of you that we are able to provide this great educational service.
So call us today to restock your supplements for the coming year and tell a friend about the savings, or order online at bioinnovations.net for the best prices of the season.
We hope the new year brings you happiness and better health for your entire family. Merry Christmas.
And a happy, healthy new year. I'm Cindy Becker for Your Health at a Glance. How often do you go into the grocery store to buy just a bag of chips or candy bar? I suspect not very often. Then how is it that these foods make it into our grocery bags and pantries? Do you make impulse choices and buy junk food? To control that impulse, plan your next trip to the store. Write down at least 3 days of menus and build a grocery list with the ingredients needed to prepare the meals. Eat a healthy snack before going to the store. If you are hungry, you're less likely to stick to the grocery list. Shop the perimeter of the store, starting with fruits and vegetables. Have you ever noticed the most healthy foods are in the outer aisles? And avoid items displayed at the checkout counter, trying to entice you to make a last-minute purchase. Follow these tips and make a plan so your next trip gives you control and you come home with bags full of healthy food. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Cindy Becker.
For thousands of years, Eastern health practitioners have used mushrooms for a variety of treatments.
And recently, scientists everywhere in the world have turned to mushrooms in search of health-promoting compounds.
These are known as medicinal mushrooms. Among some of the most potent are ABM, maitake, reishi, shiitake, and cordyceps sinensis.
At BioInnovations, we've made available 4 of the most powerful mushrooms in one easy-to-use formula. We call it the Mushroom Complex. We also offer the amazing mushroom Cordyceps sinensis in a standalone formula.
Cordyceps helps boost energy, an amazing discovery now used in both Eastern and Western medicine. So take advantage of thousands of years of health knowledge.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. We're back, everyone. I've got to let you know it is holiday savings time at BioInnovations, and what a savings time we're having. Best prices of the season and free shipping on your orders over $50 in the mainland USA, so you don't want to miss that one. Well, we've been talking about intestinal dysbiosis and what it does to your health. Well, now let's put away the negative, talk about the positive, and talk about what we can do to fix this problem once and for all. So, Richard, where do we start?
Well, we start with probiotics. We want to counter all those risk factors and environmental causes, the poor diet. We want to counter all those things we talked about, and then we want to add probiotics to our dietary plan. Now, probiotics, the word actually means for life, promoting life. It makes sense. Probiotics. And probiotics are 98% of them are taken from fermented dairy. And this is a common question. Well, I don't tolerate dairy, and I'm concerned that I'll be getting dairy in my probiotic. Well, there's no dairy left in the probiotic of the supplemental form. If you're eating yogurt, yes, there is dairy in it. But when you take a probiotic supplement, we extract it out, and we grow it in a medium so it's dairy-free. They've got it all worked out. You don't need to worry about exposure to dairy. Some people are very allergic to dairy. They can't take it. So we want to help them with that. But they primarily come from fermented dairy. Next is, as we talk about the science on probiotics, I am not talking about any one particular strain of probiotic. We now have, I'm guessing, 50 to 80 different types of probiotics that they've discovered, grown in laboratories. And what scientists are doing now is they're trying to find the health attributes of each specific strain. And this could take years to figure out what each individual one does. So how do we counter that? Do you look up in a book, well, I have allergies. Do I have to have Lactobacillus reuteri? Is that the one I need? I don't know. It's not clear. What we do to counter that and make the most sense is take multi-strain probiotics. There's a place for single-strain probiotic. There's a place for that. But unless you do a genetic profile of your gut bacteria and the probiotic genetic profile of what you're taking as a supplement, you're not going to know the answer to that. Nobody is. This is a high-level scientific endeavor that is not practical for everyday use. So we still want to take advantage of probiotics, so we use multi-strain probiotics. 6, 7, 8, 10 different strains of probiotics. That's how you make up for that lack of knowledge at this point. Next point of contention, or nuance, or awakening, new information. We're seeing a trend in probiotic marketing where 1 billion CFU, colony-forming units, is not enough. I want 5 billion, I want 10 billion, I want 50 billion. You know, that's a gross misrepresentation of the science, and I'm going to explain to you why. A colony-forming unit is, if I were to take a broth of probiotic growing organisms, put a inoculation loop in there and plate it out on a petri dish and want it to grow, each one of the dots, the new colony of probiotic that's growing, is a colony forming unit. Each colony could have a trillion, a zillion, a quadzillion, whatever the number, huge numbers of bacteria that can grow from one colony forming unit. So what's the difference between 1 billion colony forming unit and 100 billion when each one of those colony forming units can make a trillion organisms? See what I'm saying? So just saying I'm better because I have 50 billion CFUs, they're taking advantage of your lack of scientific knowledge. Don't fall for it. What you want is viable organisms that will proliferate and grow and make trillions on their own. Does that make sense, barometer? Does it? Because don't be fooled by marketing. Use the science to your advantage. All right, let's go into some of this science. And again, this is about all the different types of probiotics, but there's power here. American Heart Association recently did a study, double-blind, placebo-controlled, 500 adults. Probiotics lowers blood pressure by about 3.5 systolic and 2.5 diastolic. And they know how it does it. It does it through modulating the hormone response. Probiotics influence our hormone system. Adrenaline affects our blood pressure, right? They can modulate that with probiotics. Food and function, review of probiotics benefits in cardiovascular disease. The bowel flora, probiotics reduce low-density lipoprotein to HDL, high-density lipoprotein. You know your profile, how much of HDL, LDL you have. Your triglyceride levels, it lowers blood pressure, it lowers inflammation, lowers blood glucose, along with body mass and body fat. All of that from probiotics, and you didn't take not one drug. not one. I think that's just amazing. That's how complex the bowel flora is. And when you learn how to manipulate it to your advantage, you're cutting out a lot of medicines potentially. Potentially, we could reduce our medicines. Animal study, probiotics reduce fat accumulation in the liver. Remember we talked about that, the enterohepatic pathway. Improve the gut flora, you improve the stress on the liver. See, improve metabolism. Remember those molecules we affect, all the metabolism molecules we affect. You improve that, you store less fat in the liver, less scarring of the liver, better health. When your liver's off, you don't feel good. It's your energy organ. It's your digestion organ. It's your clarity of thought organ. It really is. It's an amazing organ. Support the liver, health improves. What else? Diabetes. Diabetes-induced laboratory animals, probiotics help to lower blood glucose levels by about 30%. Maybe you don't need that extra medicine. What you need is a probiotic. Remember, diabetics, you have altered bowel flora. That's a fact. That's been proven. Let's fix that. Review of diabetes. Probiotics reduces body mass, body fat, insulin resistance, blood lipids, inflammation, metabolic stress, while they improve carbohydrate metabolism, insulin sensitivity, liver function, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. All that from probiotics. Folks, we have so much more, and we're going to get through as much as we can when we return. We'll be back.
I'm Cindy Becker.
And I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Are you thinking about your health as we approach a new year? Well, many of us do, even though our health is important every day of the year.
If you have a wellness plan in mind, December's a month with special holiday prices. Plus, shipping within the continental U.S. is free for all orders over $50.
We'd like to thank you for your continued support. It's because of you that we are able to provide this great educational service.
So call us today to restock your supplements for the coming year and tell a friend about the savings, or order online at bioinnovations.net for the best prices of the season.
We hope the new year brings you happiness and better health for your entire family. Merry Christmas.
And a happy, healthy new year. Is our hope for you today. I'm Cindy Becker. Christian counselor Dr. Henry Brandt wrote, "To dwell above with the saints we love, that will be grace and glory. But to live below with the saints we know, well, that's another story." Throughout our lives, we encounter difficult people. These souls challenge the best of us. But the Apostle Paul suggested that we maintain our grace in spite of the actions of others. Paul wrote, "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." Paul acknowledged it may not be possible in all cases, but we should still do our best. Try to look at difficult people through Christ's eyes. Remember his sacrifice was for everyone, even those saints we know who challenge us. I'm Cindy Becker. This is our hope for you today. Are you one of the 62 million Americans suffering from gastrointestinal problems? Do you struggle with other chronic conditions? That's why we offer Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics.
After years of research, we developed a revolutionary probiotic formula with gastrodefense technology. This system protects the good bacteria from stomach acid so the probiotics reach the intestines where they go to work. Additionally, we use live count technology to prolong the shelf life of the probiotics, so there's no need for refrigeration.
Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics is a powerful combination and one of the most effective formulas available today. And we offer a children's chewable formula too, both at prices you can afford. Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. That number's 888-442-2128. we're back. Just a quick reminder, it is holiday savings time at BioInnovations. You don't want to miss this one. So, Richard, this research is just, there's so much of it, but it's so important and it's so varied, which is amazing.
So we're going to hit the highlights and get you as much as we can. Probiotics lower social anxiety. Each one of these statements is a result of one to multiple studies and confirmed social anxiety. Next, probiotics reduce heavy metal load in pregnant mothers and in children. You can chelate heavy metals and toxins with probiotics. We have reduced postoperative complications in patients who are going in for surgery if they take a probiotic. They have reduced need for mechanical ventilation. That's the respirator. You know, they have to intubate you, and that's a real serious thing. You're in ICU if you have that. Less chance of that, less infections, and less leaking of anastomosis. If we have to hook the intestines back together or an artery together, less leaking if you take a probiotic. Isn't that amazing? Less post-surgical site infections and less urinary tract infections after operations. Why aren't we doing this in hospitals? We just give antibiotics that lead to resistant and more powerful germs. Use bacteria to fight bacteria. That's a cool idea, isn't it? Pretty neat. What else? Probiotic organisms are a facilitator of the overall internal immune system and intestinal ecosystem. So they don't just do the work alone, the probiotics. They're like, we call them the conductor. They instruct other bacteria to shape up and play in tune. There, that's a good one to remember. Probiotics reduce candida colonization. Fighting candida? A lot of people are. Yeast, fungi, all of it. All that whole myco world. That's tough stuff to handle. Competitive inhibition. If the probiotics are growing strong, it inhibits. It pushes out the gangsters. That's how I think of it. What else? Allergy. It reduces the signs and symptoms of allergy while improving the quality of life in allergy sufferers. And it particularly helps the ocular, the eye symptoms of allergies. I've met many people who during ragweed season, their eyes swell shut and the cornea becomes edematous, and it actually puffs the sclera. It's amazing to see. The conjunctiva becomes edematous. The eyes just swell shut. And that's the type of symptoms we can help with probiotics. Children and rotavirus, infectious diarrhea in babies. You can reduce that risk by 75% with just probiotics. And while I'm thinking about it, mothers, you may not be able to breastfeed your newborn baby. I know sometimes it's a challenge. There are problems. There are reasons why sometimes mothers just don't want to. I understand. It's your choice. Take an infant probiotic formula. Ours is a chewable. Don't give a chewable to a newborn infant. They'll choke on it. Crush the tablet. Put a little water in it. Dip a pacifier in it. Coat it with the probiotic, let the baby suckle on the pacifier. Do that every day for a while. This helps to colonize the intestinal tract. See, mother does that naturally with breastfeeding. Breast milk has probiotics in it. When we deny baby, for whatever reason, breast milk, they are challenged. They need bifidobacterium and lactobacillus bacterium in their gut to help them deal with the stresses of life. If they're not getting it through breast milk, you can replicate that with an infant formula probiotic. Many hospitals around the world are doing this now. You can do it too safely at home. Do you get that? Next, probiotics improve rheumatoid arthritis pain scores, quality of life scores, reduces inflammation. Critically ill ICU patients who are given probiotics improves their score of overall health while they improve clinical outcomes, intensive care. What else? Probiotic reduces plaque formation in children. How hard is it to get the kids into brushing their teeth on a routine, right? You know, we don't want them to have cavities. Give them probiotic-containing treats like some yogurt. Make it part of their breakfast, and that helps to protect the teeth from caries. That's a good idea. Probiotics reduce the risk in colds, in physically active and healthy adults, and even sick adults. Reduce your risk of cold. Add a little vitamin D to that. Now you're really making progress. They were able to prove how it does. Probiotics stimulate the macrophage. This is the Pac-Man cell of the white blood cell world. When the macrophage is activated, it initiates the innate and the adaptive. That's the whole immune ball of wax. It's activated when you activate the macrophage, and probiotics do that for us. What else? When taken before and during this one's important, cancer radiation therapy. If you take probiotics before and after each session, you'll have less damage, collateral damage by that radiation therapy. You'll have less radiation enterocolitis. You'll have less burning of the skin. And it's a systemic effect. Pretty remarkable, isn't it? Probiotics help to induce remission of diverticular disease. Diverticulitis, you'll have less of it. If you get on a probiotic and a gentle fiber program, you'll have less of it. They've been able to determine how probiotics modulate the immune system. I could read you the big long names of all the chemical factors that induce immune competence. Probiotics help to stimulate that system. Probiotics improve the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome. It is my humble opinion, it's not so much a problem of the nervous system like most medical doctors believe, but it is a problem of the nervous system created by bowel flora abnormalities. And a major step in correcting that is probiotics. IBS, probiotics, that go hand in hand. Please, change the way you do things. Probiotics will help the IBS. It improves the appearance of dry skin. Taking it systemically helps the skin. Far away, distant sites. That's how profound this effect is, the orchestration of the system. It improves your vitamin D blood level by about 15 nanogram points. So, I mean, it kind of pays for itself in a way. You have to take less vitamin D. It helps to improve the whole vitamin D axis, the synergy of this. It improves functional constipation in children and adults alike. Improves lactose intolerance. Did you notice after the antibiotic course, I can't drink milk anymore? You might be able to fix that with probiotics. It has happened for a lot of people. And it improves the immune status even in HIV/AIDS patients. It's that effective. Well, we have a break. We'll be back with just a little more in just a minute.
I'm Cindy Becker.
And I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Are you thinking about your health as we approach a new year? Well, many of us do, even though our health is important every day of the year.
If you have a wellness plan in mind, December's a month with special holiday prices. Plus, shipping within the continental U.S. is free for all orders over $50.
We'd like to thank you for your continued support. It's because of you that we are able to provide this great educational service.
So call us today to restock your supplements for the coming year and tell a friend about the savings, or order online at bioinnovations.net for the best prices of the season.
We hope the new year brings you happiness and better health for your entire family. Merry Christmas.
And a happy, healthy new year. I'm Cindy Becker for Your Health at a Glance. We all have said, I need to get some exercise, but how many of us put on our walking shoes and go? Learning a little more about the health benefits of exercise may help you get motivated to lace up those walking shoes. Exercise helps to control our appetite and weight. It maintains strong muscles. It promotes the release of endorphins that counter depression while helping us feel good about our lives. Exercise helps to lower blood glucose, promotes a strong circulatory system, and controls cholesterol. Exercise even helps us get a good night's sleep. Recent research finds dog owners who regularly walk their pet are 34% more likely to achieve fitness goals. You can get all of these health benefits by walking 30 minutes 4 times a week, just 30 minutes a day. Start today, and you'll start to get all those benefits. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Cindy Becker.
CoQ10 and L-carnitine are among the most important nutrients our bodies use for energy production. Deficiency in these key nutrients can cause serious complications to your health. In fact, statin drugs that are used to lower cholesterol may deplete your CoQ10 levels.
Bioinnovations brings you Dr. Becker's Bionutrients CoQ10 with L-carnitine. Now, providing support for cardiovascular health is easier than ever before.
CoQ10 and L-carnitine support a healthy heart naturally, as nature intended, and our formulation provides 300% greater absorption of CoQ10 than similar products, using a technology so effective it's patented.
Bioinnovations is the affordable source that you can trust for all your vitamin and supplement needs. Give us a call at 888-442-2128. That's 888-442-2128. Or order online at bioinnovations.net. Your health is brought to you by Bioinnovations, trusted products for your health and well-being. We're back, everyone. Quick reminder, it is holiday savings time at Bioinnovations. The best prices of the season and free shipping on your orders over $50 in the mainland USA, so don't miss it. So, Richard,
yes,
let's quickly go through some of the benefits of probiotics.
Yeah, well, there are just so many, and people ask that, well, would it help me? Would probiotics help me? This is fundamental to the human condition. All humans need probiotics. We all do. It doesn't really matter what the health condition is. Find the brand, find the combination that helps you the most. And I think it's a good idea to skip around. You know, try this and try that, and you'll find the ones that really help. Things like mood disorders, liver disease, antibiotic-associated diarrhea, osteoporosis. Even osteoporosis, total body inflammation, pain syndromes, infectious enteritis, you know, food poisoning, let's call it that. Transplant, organ transplant outcomes improve with probiotics. IBS, one of the most common health conditions in America, IBS. Inflammatory bowel, H. pylori treatment outcomes improve. Celiac disease, if you're reacting to gluten, you have profound dysbiosis. It can take a year or more of intensive therapies to correct the bowel flora after you've stopped gluten. And probiotics is absolutely part of that. Please, it really is. It reduces weight gain after having a baby, ladies. All kinds of things. Improves outcomes in intensive care, improves nutrient absorption, improves your response to the flu shot. Immunizations work better if you take probiotics with it. Isn't that amazing? Improves bowel regularity and constipation, UTIs, having one urinary tract infection after another, probiotics are part of the solution. Reduces sick days in students and workers. Add vitamin D to that, you're going to get better. And a good vitamin plan, you know, zinc and vitamin C. Do the holistic approach, but be sure your probiotics are in the plan to reduce your sick days. Chronic yeast problems, it even lowers your risk of gallstones and kidney stones. Heartburn, lowers blood pressure, chronic pain reduction 50% from probiotics alone. Isn't that amazing? Now, multi-strain is best. Our version has 8. And we made this by making a lengthy list of what we know probiotics can do and what health conditions you, our viewers, suffer from, and we matched them up. And we took those 8, and that's the product. And I got to tell you, folks, it's one of the best products we have. We get more calls on your probiotic is the best, and I want you to know that sincerely and factually. It's an amazing product. It makes a huge difference, and I want you to benefit from that. It's tremendous. So one of ours equals many, many of the others. It's just how it is. It works. It works, and I thank the good Lord for that formulary inspiration for us, because it's all about you guys and helping you get well. Well, honey, it's a great time of year. We also have the infant one,
right?
Or
chewable. For children,
it's chewable, and for the little babies, crush it and dip the pacifier in, just like we said. It works. It really works. It helps them tremendously. Well, thank you for your kind attention on a critical subject, probiotics. I hope to see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Your Health. Bye-bye.
I'll never forget the time I met Dr. Stanley. I told him my idea to plant a church for broken and hurting people, but that I was afraid. He said, "Brian, don't you know God will take responsibility for all of the consequences of a heart that's fully devoted to Him?"
Join Join Jim, Lori, and the Baker family every day for prophetic updates,
These are revelation days.
inspirational ministry,
We need to stay alert. We don't live in fear. We live in faith.
and powerful teachings